Hey guys, so before I get into today's video, I would like to first remind everybody that I am not in any way a medical professional, okay? So all I'm doing in these videos is I'm talking about my own personal experiences. Sometimes they may give little pointers or tips, hopefully that can help somebody, but just because I do it or because I was told by my doctors to do it, doesn't mean it's right for you, doesn't count as official medical advice, So just want to put that out there, legal reasons, don't want to get sued because people think I'm trying to tell them what to do and I know what I'm talking about. That is not the case. So the topic of today's video is going to be medication. So when you have something like an autoimmune disease or any type of chronic illness, that's long-term especially, you get used to popping pills, which is part of life, okay? And it's hard for some people to get used to it first. It's hard for people to figure out how to organize their medication. It's hard for them to remember when to take their medication. There's a lot of crazy meds out there. There's some crazy side effects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you real quick kind of how I organize my meds. And then I'm going to tell you about each medication that I take, the reason I take that medication, and how it affects me personally, okay? So this is all about me. Just because it does one thing for me or because I was prescribed it for a certain reason doesn't mean that that's the same reason someone else might be having to take it. So to begin with, organization. So I have been dealing with autoimmune since I was 15. So that's 21 years. So I'm very used to taking multiple pills a day. At this point in my medical history, I take about 16 pills a day. And to a lot of you, you're probably going, oh my God, that's so many pills. There are some people who only have to take 1 or 2 pills, and that's awesome for them. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with 16 pills because there was one point in my life where I was taking 40 a day. And you compare 40 to 16 and you can see why I'm pretty happy with what I have going on. And I know plenty of people who do still have to take 40 or more medications a day. So you understand how it can get complicated. So first of all, for me, I like to store my medicine bottles in like this little plastic box jobby thing. You have a little toxic stickers, toxic substance, just to let everyone know. So that I don't have pill bottles just sitting all over countertops in the bathroom or in my bedroom. I always know where they are. And if I'm going on kind of an extended trip that's longer than a week, I can just bring all my little bottles in this box. So super easy, guys. You can pick them up for like $5 or $6 at a place like Walmart, Target. I'm sure you can order them on Amazon. This is not an endorsement type video. It just keeps everything tidied away, right? Because you don't want to leave it open everywhere if you have kids or maybe pets, and you can store everything in this and then kind of store it somewhere up high. Like honestly, I keep my box in my closet. It's out of the way. No one has to look at it. No one else can get into it. Super easy. So for a weekly organization, I use one of these guys, okay? It is a little pill container. It has one side for evening and one side for morning. Now I only have to take my medication twice a day. There are other cases that are kind of double this size, and it'll be morning, lunch, evening, bedtime, because sometimes people have to take medications more often throughout the day. Because I just use this. Also, if you're on the go, like if you're going to dinner or if you're just going quick somewhere overnight, these little dudes actually pop out, okay? And so if I just need medication for the night and morning and I'm not gonna be home and I don't wanna carry the whole thing, I can just pop this guy out, pop him in my purse or my backpack, and I'm ready to go. So that kind of saves down on you having to carry around a bunch of medication. So, like I said before, I only take my medicines in the morning and at night. So when I first started taking my medication after transplant, I set timers because transplant immunosuppressants, they want you to take them exactly 12 hours apart if you can. So just pick a time during the day that you know you're going to be awake both in the morning and at night. Like if you get up every morning at 7 to go to work, then set your alarm for 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. On your phone, and then you want to take your medicine. It doesn't hurt to go ahead and keep doing that even after you get in a routine, because sometimes we get caught up and we forget, hey, I'm supposed to be taking my medicine now. And everyone has a phone. You can set your alarms as often as infrequently as you want to, and just let them go. So those are my organizational tips. They're super easy, right? Okay, now we're gonna get into the fun stuff. What do I take and why? Again, just because I take these medications for certain reasons doesn't mean that A, they're the reason someone else will be taking them, or B, that that's the only thing that they are taken for. Okay, do not go run out and start asking for medications just because you heard some girl on a video say, hey, this is what you should be taking. That's not at all what's happening here. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about each med, and I'm going to show you a little pill guy. All right, so one of my first pills that I take, this is an immunosuppressant. It's a little capsule dude, called mycophenolate, or commonly known as Cellcept. I take 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. And like I said, they are for immunosuppression. And I started taking them after I had my transplant in 2015. These guys work well. I don't have any side effects from them. The only problem, and this is something that if you're a woman, your transplant people will talk to you about before they put you on this medication. If you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or trying to get pregnant, you need to let people know so they can take you off of these, because they are very toxic and they are not good for a fetus. They won't get in the way. They're not going to ruin your uterus or anything. You just don't want to be on these meds while you're carrying a baby. So the next one, I'm going to dig in here. I'm digging my little pill box, so I'm going to take a minute. It's probably better if I just pour them out in my hand. Brains. Okay, so the other thing that I take for my autoimmune is this little guy. It's teeny tiny. Tacrolimus. I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not. I'm not a medical professional. Also known as prograf. Much easier to say. I take 1 in the morning, 1 at night. Also something that I was given to start taking after transplant. He's pretty standard. This is something that most transplant patients will take. Again, not really many side effects. The only problem with him is if he builds up in your system and you have too much prograf in your system, it can start to cause issues. In my case, I have a very low tolerance for prograf, and I actually had seizures because I had too much of it in my system. So that was no bueno. Landed me in the hospital for another week. I'll talk about that in a future video. But because of that little issue, I take this guy. This guy is a big old pill. He has a crease down the middle, so I tend to break him in half. I take 1 in the morning, 1 at night. This is Keppra. Okay, and this is an anti-seizure medication that I was put on after my prograf caused me to have a couple of seizures. Now, since I've been on the Keppra, I have had no issues, no seizures. But because the seizures were so bad, we decided to stay on this for preventative measure. I don't have any side effects from this because I don't have epilepsy or any type of seizure, illness, or disease. People that I know who are on it for epilepsy do tend to sometimes have some different side effects. So I think it depends what you're using it for. Personally, no issues. All right, so this guy right here, this little dude, is magnesium oxide. You can buy it over the counter or you can get it prescribed. The reason I started taking this, oh, I'm losing pills. Sorry. The reason I started taking this guy is because I had an episode when I was 28 where I was septic, and they put me on a lot of medication, a lot of fluids, a lot of steroids, and high doses of dopamine. And it kind of messed with my heart a little bit. It kind of made my heart beat very irregular. So they put me on the mag oxide to regulate that. But then after I came out of that and started to recover, my gastroenterologist left me on it because it's also very good for calming your stomach. People with stomach issues. So I have no colon. I have a liver transplant, and I currently am dealing with Crohn's disease. So there's a lot going on in my tummy. It's not always happy. So another little guy I take. This is over-the-counter iron. I don't know if it's my eating habits or my medication, but I am slightly anemic. This just happened recently, like in the last year. So I take 2 of these guys a day, one at night, one in the morning. Buy it at Walmart, super easy. For those who used to take iron back in the day, like I had to take it when I first got sick, like in 99, 2000, and the iron I took was very hard on my stomach. It was very painful for like 3 weeks until I started getting used to having it inside me. And this iron has been no problem. Super easy to digest, no pain. I don't even notice it. And it's definitely necessary because I ran out of it for about a month and was lazy and didn't go get more. And I had bruises everywhere. So now I take my iron. I also take vitamin D. I was prescribed this many, many moons ago because one of my liver pills at the time, one of the side effects was calcium deficiency, and I started breaking bones. So they prescribed vitamin D to me because it helps you retain your calcium. It wasn't that I didn't have enough calcium coming in, it's that I wasn't holding on to it. Vitamin D helps with that. I've also heard from a lot of nurses currently that it's actually a good thing to take as to boost up your immune system against COVID. So couldn't hurt, okay? So I take this guy once a day, 2,000 units. This guy's a little gel cap, super easy to go down. Another morning medication that I take is this guy, and he is known as protonix, something I got from my gastroenterologist, again, just to keep my that's not even a word, apologies, my stomach calm. Like I said, I've had gastro issues for 21 years, and my tummy's a little sensitive. And so this guy just kind of keeps things calm in there, which is nice. So that was all my morning meds. Putting them back inside my box so I don't lose them and find pills later all over the carpet. Most of my nighttime medication is just the same thing. I take the Zoloft, I take the Prograf, I take the Keppra, I take the mag oxide and the iron all at night. So we don't have to go over those little guys again. Actually, the only 2 things that I'm currently taking at night that are different, oh no, are these 2 little guys, this guy and this guy, which looks a lot like my mycophenolate, but is not. So this little tiny blue pill, some of you may recognize, is Zoloft, also known as sertraline. I take 50 milligrams. A lot of people recognize it because it is prescribed for anxiety and or depression. In my case, I take it to help me sleep. That's it. I don't have anxiety or depression. It just kind of helps my mom. Helps my mind slow down at the end of the evening so I can lay in bed and go to sleep without my brain racing. We all know how that is. And this dude is called budesonide. So this is a very mild steroid. I take one every night. Doctors don't like you to be on steroids for a prolonged period because it's really harsh on your system. However, my Crohn's disease seems to do better if I just stay on a very low dose of steroids. When I don't have it, I tend to have a lot of nausea and burning. It is just very painful. So we're still trying to work on that and figure it out. For now, I take him every night. I also have 2 other medications. I have something called Reglan, which is just a tiny little white guy, teeny tiny, and he's anti-nausea. I haven't taken him in quite some time, but he's prescribed for those times when my Crohn's acts up and I get nauseous. But I also take them like if I am having really bad cramps from PMS and I get nauseous, I can take him and he works just as well then. Very low key. I hardly ever take it. The final medication was Stelara. We talked about that in the last video, and that is something that I take for my Crohn's disease. There are a lot of medications. We all see the ads for them on TV. Humira, Stelara, Entyvio, Remicade. Those are all used for several reasons, but one of them being they are used for Crohn's disease. Now, the reason I was previously on Entyvio and am now on Stelara, and the reason that my doctor put me on those 2 medications is because medicines like Humira and Remicade are immunosuppressants as well. Now, because I've had a transplant and I am already on immunosuppressants, He did not want me to be on anything else that would further compromise my immune system. So Entyvio and Stelara work differently, and they do not suppress your immune system the way Humira and Remicade do. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of those medicines. I'm on the ones I'm on for a very specific reason. They all work differently for different people. None are better than the other. None are worse than the other. Entyvio and Stelara are probably just safer for someone who's already on immunosuppressants. If you're concerned or you want to know more about it, talk to your doctor. That's what they're there for. I'd say look it up, but we can't always trust the internet, and WebMD is not the same as seeing your actual doctor, so don't trust that guy. So that's it for me and my medication. If there's any comments or questions, definitely leave them below. I'm happy to answer. As you can tell, this is not terribly professional. This is literally me sitting in my bedroom just talking at you guys. So I'm just trying to help anyone who needs help. And if you have anything you want me to talk about, then just give me a shout and I'll see what I can do, okay? Good luck managing your medication and all your other illnesses and issues that you may have. And I will see you guys next time.